Hi guys, so apologies for my kind of sporadic messed up videos. I did record one on Monday, this one actually, but halfway through the sound cut out and I kind of haven't had time to record again. So while I've got like 5 minutes while my sister is with my kids, I'm going to make you a video. So, and I've got two, I'm going to film two today, hopefully, and post them back to back because I've got two things to talk about. But this is my first one, most important because people have asked me about it, and so I'm going to get this out of the way. So, if you see my Instagram, you will know that I went into a school the week before last to talk about anorexia. And it was an amazing opportunity that I'm so grateful to have had, and it's something that I think is really important. And I was given this opportunity because my mom works in a new school, and they asked me to come in and talk to some students who are between 14 and 17. Some 18 because some dropped in from a class that they weren't supposed to be in, but to talk to them about anorexia. Some of them because it's to do with school projects, some of them just because they're interested in mental health, and some of them just because they were in a class and they came in. And so I was able to be very, very frank, very honest about the ins and outs of anorexia, bulimia, my issues with eating disorders and mental health problems, which was a really intense but also very humbling experience. And I'll kind of explain. And it was hard because it's very easy for me to come on YouTube and tell you how I'm feeling and be on my blog and write be in a community of people who are suffering, have suffered, and some people who haven't, who still watch my videos and stuff, but be in a community of people who, you can say, I took 20 laxatives last night, and people aren't that shocked because they've been there or they considered it. But when you're saying it to a group of 30, 40 students who are 14, 15 years old, which is actually the age I was when I started taking laxatives, who've never considered that to be an option, and their knowledge of laxatives is that maybe you take one. And so to kind of admit to them that, there have been times when I've taken 100, and their faces, it was just such a humbling experience to be able to share that with them and give them that knowledge that that kind of stuff does happen, but also that it has happened to me, and you can get through it to an extent. So, but I mean, it was intense, and it stirred up a lot of feelings that I hadn't been prepared for it to do. Like the day before, the night before, and the morning of, I spent a good hour, 2, 3. I mean, broken up. I spent about 4 hours deciding what to wear, getting ready, because I couldn't figure out what was appropriate, what was suitable. Because first you have to think, I'm going into school. I need to be approachable for these kids. I don't want to be another teacher figure for them, because I want them to be able to listen and to connect with me, but I also don't want to be too relaxed. I don't want to be, like this, basically. And then I thought, I'm going to talk to them about anorexia. What do I look like? Will they believe I've had anorexia? Will they think I'm too fat to have anorexia? Will they think I'm thin? Do I want to go in there and talk about anorexia and possibly be too thin? And all those things that an anorexic thinks. All the intrusive thoughts I hadn't had for quite a while, I wasn't really expecting to kind of encounter. And I was thinking, do I look fat? Do I look thin? Do I look too thin? Of course I don't look too thin. You're fake. You've gained weight. All these different things were kind of going through my head. And it was really difficult because I wasn't expecting it to be so intense. I mean, every time I go somewhere new, I have a certain amount of intrusive thoughts, and the body dysmorphia tends to flare up a bit, but I wasn't expecting it to that extent. And then standing in front of them, it was quite difficult because I was talking to them and I was like, will they believe that I've gone through this stuff? But actually, when I started talking and as time went on, it became a lot easier. And so we started off and we showed them the piece that I still need to put on here from this morning, from the summer while I was pregnant, discussing the difficulties being pregnant and anorexic. And that kind of highlights the path a little bit because, we just talked about when I was aware of it as well. And then I gave them a brief history. I was 8, I was diagnosed at 12, I went to hospital, I got out of hospital, was okay, relapsed at 15, blah, 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 blah. Got to the present day, kind of briefly said, you know, this bit was really bad, then I got pregnant, this is the treatment I had, this is the place I went for treatment, this is what I did in treatment, ask me your questions. And so they asked some questions, and then my mum was there because she worked in the school, and so they asked my mum some questions, which was, I was really, really upset. I could have probably cried if I hadn't been in a room full of people, because some of the things really hit home. Some stuff that I knew, but it's very hard. It's like, you know it, but then you don't hear your mum say it. And, you know, and she said things like, you know, for a good year, she was just on edge, constantly anxious, because she thought every time she picked up the phone or the phone rang, it would be somebody telling her that I was dead. And when she said that, the whole room just went silent, because you hear all the stories, and I was saying all these things like, you know, my heart was giving in. I've developed osteoporosis. I was abusing laxatives. I was abusing alcohol. I was abusing drugs. Anything. I was abusing my medication just to lose weight. And they listen to it, and then you hear your teacher and this person's mother say, "I thought she was going to die." And then I think it really hits home, because it's not just medical professionals, it's a mother being scared for her child's life. And that was devastating to hear, because I knew it, because she told me that, but she's only ever told me that when I was really, really ill and I was really confrontational. And so to hear it when I'm in a better place was heartbreaking. So we moved on from that bit, which kind of took a bit of we talked a lot about, we covered everything. We covered what we thought started my anorexia, possibly, maybe not. We didn't go into too much detail there, because obviously it's a bit the progression of my anorexia, how it started, how I hid it, how people found out, my first lot of treatment, how that went, how I recovered, how I was healthy, how I then relapsed, how I fell into the world of pro-ana. And we talked quite a lot about pro-ana, because I think that's something that's quite relevant to a lot of young people these days. You know, the media, the pressure of the media, the pressure of people online, the comments that you get, how easy it is to be sucked into this world of, you know, let's be thin, let's not eat, that's how you hide it. So I talked very much about that, how dangerous that was, and how that taught me all the tricks that helped me sustain my illness. We talked a lot about things that go in hand of eating disorders. So, you know, my BPD, borderline personality disorder, anxiety, body dysmorphia, depression, OCD, perfectionism, all these things. And we were talking about how eating disorders are kind of like a hand, how you have these strings of other illnesses that all group together, and the eating disorder is often in the middle. And a lot of the time, these things don't become massively apparent until the eating disorder is there. And a lot of the time, these are the roots for the eating disorder. So sometimes you can have anxiety and you can be a perfectionist, and then the eating disorder will blossom. And so how a lot of the time, eating disorders go in hand in hand with a lot of other things, and that's kind of how we did it. We did it with a hand. I talked about substance abuse a bit, about how, you know, it can be easy to get sucked into, you don't think that just on a quest to be thin, you will start abusing substances. We talked about medication. We talked a bit about suicide attempts, because that was something that kind of came up, which it was pretty dark, but we got through that bit. And we talked about recovery, and how it's helpful to help people with eating disorders, what family members and friends can do, and kind of what recovery is like for somebody with an eating disorder, expectations and realities, which is my next video. And so it was a really, really positive day, but also very difficult, because I walked out of the school feeling like I didn't really know where I was anymore, because I knew very much that I wasn't this very sickly thin girl, but I wasn't the shining beacon of positivity and recovery that I kind of want to be in. And when I was there, one of the girls asked me, you know, where do you think you are in your recovery? And I think I summed it up quite well. I said, I eat, and I don't abuse exercise. I still take laxatives because, as we discussed, laxative dependency and abuse, we discussed that, so they kind of knew what I was talking about. I still take laxatives because my body needs them, but I no longer abuse them. I don't abuse my medication to lose weight, even if when I take medication, I don't abuse it. I don't take any drugs. I don't abuse alcohol anymore. I don't do any of those negative things. But do I eat enough? No. And when I do eat, do I feel guilty? Every single time. But do I act on it? Most of the time not. Do I exercise? Yes. Do I kill myself with exercise? Not anymore. Can I go out and do normal things now? Yes. Is it easy for me to do normal things? Not at all. It takes days and days of working into doing things. And they said, how do you feel about your body? And I said, you know, I look in the mirror and I don't really see anything anymore. I always feel like I could lose more weight, always. Because I have been, you know, 30 pounds lighter than I am now. But I also know that to be healthy, I need to gain another 20 pounds plus. I could gain 40 pounds and still not have an overweight BMI. And so I'm kind of in a big, vast grey area where I feel guilty for being healthy. I feel guilty for not being healthy, but I'm not in a place where I am moving either way towards sickness or towards health. And so I feel guilty for staying in this place too. But is that more of a positive thing than being unhealthy? Of course. And so therefore I feel like I am in some ways succeeding in my recovery. But I still have a long, long, long way to go. And they kind of looked at me and just go, but you're so thin. You're so thin. And I was just like, and so somebody said to me, you know, what do you think about other people then? Do you think we must be fat because we're so much bigger than you and we're only a size 8? And I said, no, eating disorders are incredibly selfish. You know, it only pertains to me. I look at my sister and I think she is beautiful and I think she is a perfect size, but I'm so much smaller than her. But I can't make that connection in my brain yet. And so I walked away kind of quite confused, and it took me a few days to kind of adjust back into normality, to get rid of the intrusive thoughts that had flared up because of this, which is something else I wasn't expecting. But I think that it was worth it, because as difficult as it is to talk about all those things and as intrusive as the thoughts that come along with it are, I feel massively accomplished for talking and for being honest and for possibly helping people. And yeah, I'm really glad I did it. It was pretty cool. Yeah, so I hope that kind of sums up what happened. It was pretty cool. It was fun. So I'm making another video in a minute. I need to do some dinner for everybody, but then I'll come back tonight and make a video for you guys about recovery, expectations and reality. So just watch out for that. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.